England is home to over 40,000 association football clubs, which also mean it's home to a lot of stadiums, which got me thinking. I know, shock horror, sometimes I do think. Anyway, it got me thinking, what is the worst stadium in the UK? And I know there's a list out there all the time, loads of YouTube videos have been made on it. It's Kenilworth Road, isn't it? No, it's not. And no one's ever put Kenilworth Road at the top of a list. I don't get why anyone's ever made a video saying Kenilworth Road is the worst stadium in England. If anything, it's actually quite charming. It's even made the top 100 stadiums in the world list. People saying it's the worst stadium are wrong. It's actually this. This stadium is met with such TripAdvisor reviews as horrible, worst stadium I've ever visited, absolutely vile, dreadful experience, rip-off central, awful. Richard H on the other hand absolutely loved it, so, you know, maybe Richard's right. This is Oxford United's Kassam Stadium. It's hated by not just their own fans, by loads alike, and I want to find out if that's true and if that's the case today. Is this the UK's worst football stadium? Welcome to Away Days. Let's find out. I wanted someone here who could help educate me on why this stadium was disliked and the reasons for it, and I thought, bring one of the most knowledgeable voices, especially on this stadium on YouTube. People ask you to come back all the time on the channel, it's always you, oh, where's Ed, where's Neve? Well, Neve's here. Talk to me about Oxford's United Stadium and why it's terrible.
Well, yes, I am the Oxford correspondent on account of me being here once. But what I can tell you about this stadium is the person who owns the land in the stadium used to own the club but doesn't anymore, and there's no agreement that can be made between the current owners, and so it's just being run into the ground, and you can tell. And the club have desperately wanted to leave as soon as possible. They want to, but the council, there's issues of rejecting everywhere they want to go, so it's not their fault at all. But what we're left with here is a place that people just don't seem to be particularly proud of. Yeah,
and also we need to say as well, me and you both agree that Oxford have great fans, and we're not talking about them as a fan base or atmosphere or anything. We're talking purely about the Kassam as a stadium and why it's in this weird state. Also, like us walking around it doesn't feel like a football ground. It feels like something's been plonked in an industrial area to me. Yeah,
there's no pubs around. You can go and play bowling if you want.
We need to have a look around. So a typical away day experience. Let's find somewhere to eat. Because we are Oxford fans for the day. Why is there always whichever stadium you're at the world, always some random European club that have bought their Ultra sticker? Why is a Dinamo Zagreb sticker here? There's no character, is there?
I feel like you can tell that this is the stadium of a club that don't want to be here for much longer.
Yeah, it's like really just weird. If they've painted over it, Neve just said there was a penis here that got painted over, but if you're going to do that, just paint over that.
Yeah, and those Wycombe Wanderers are massive. They've painted over that as well.
Maybe the penis was massive.
No, it wasn't.
Many stadiums have just like barbed wire over one tiny bit of it.
Imagine if you got that. Oh, damn, how am I going to get over? Oh, hang on.
Yeah, I reckon you could jump and grab that.
Not possible.
What do you mean not possible? You could literally reach it without jumping. So Neve, we're coming around to where would usually be a fourth stand for a club. And as we can see, there is no fourth stand. Why?
The last time I had a look, it would appear that Kassam, Firoz Kassam, who owns the ground, made an accusation that the owner at the time wasn't paying him the right amounts of money to be here, but then he came out and said, no, there's a few bits here and there that we need to chase up, but there's nothing major. That's not an excuse. So he's saying he is, Kassam's saying he isn't, but it's just disputes in football, isn't it?
Really, really weird seeing a football stadium with free stands, but it does get consistently voted and labelled the worst stadium in the UK. And I think for this fact, I feel like it added a little bit of curiosity. I'm not sold on it being the UK's worst stadium personally. I've been to some stinkers. This isn't it yet. We are here for a Carabao Cup game. I thought it would be fitting to come to the worst competition, because it is for Oxford. It's the worst competition they play in. I've also booked us the worst seat in the worst stand. £16 a ticket.
So excited.
I thought we'd come in and do a proper match day experience. Like I said, I've been to the Kassam before. I think Oxford fans are great. I more just want to explore really in-depth the stadium this time and see whether it's shit. Look, I think the fact that Oxford has a ball is great. Like, did you need to make it life-size? Like, realistically, does that need to be life-size? Did it need to be on there? Did the full anatomy of the ball need to be there? Am I getting demonetised for that?
Oh, embarrassing the pot.
I wouldn't be embarrassed. I'd be proud if I was him. So like I said, it feels slightly inauthentic. It's not like a pub nearby. It doesn't feel like a football match day experience. It feels more like you're going to the cinema or a bowling alley, which is exactly what it is. But these were built after the stadium, right? The leisure complex wasn't here.
Yeah, and he also, Firoz Kassam, who owns the stadium, he owns all of that too. So the club makes no money from any of this land.
Which is mental. It doesn't feel like an authentic match day experience to me. You need a pub, you need like a Green King nearby that you can go to for like something. Like you need an away pub, there needs to be something that's just, where the closest...
Need hooligans.
How far from the train station are we?
Oh, like nearly 3 miles.
Doesn't feel like an authentic match day experience. It doesn't feel like something that Oxford fans deserve. And I think that's the point we're trying to drive home. Like they need a better stadium. But there is a Hollywood Bowl there. So we're going to go get our pre-match meal at a Hollywood Bowl. In terms of like pre-match game vibes, I mean, you can actually get like a Madry here. And there's like a grill bar upstairs. So it's a bit me being like, oh, look, this feels a bit. I'm in a Hollywood Bowl on match day. Ready to watch an energy drink cup match. Buy the AwayDays t-shirt, by the way. It's still for sale. There's loads of them for sale. They look great, ships worldwide. And I might kiss you if you buy it. It's not legally binding, isn't it? But I might do that. So please buy it. Sales just plummeted. Drinking a Tango Ice Blast pre-match, which actually, I'm not seeing that as a negative. There's actually a huge positive. The first football stadium in England to get an ice blast machine in it, I'm getting a season ticket. You're dual wielding pre-match an Americano, a hot drink, or a white coffee, and then a cold drink.
And that's just one side. I'm a crazy.
Just panning around, just to show in here, this is actually a pre-match spot. Like people in here are actually fans going to the game. People are having their pre-match pint here in a Hollywood Bowl. If anyone not from the UK, it'd be just like going for a pre-match pint at a bowling alley. We don't do that here. In fairness, no one comes to Hollywood Bowl for the food.
No, that's true. It's my own fault. This is delicious.
One of them is just a box of tomatoes. Before we head in, I want to just grab a word with a few fans and see whether they think it's the worst stadium in England or not. Or the UK. Is this the UK's worst football stadium?
To be fair, it's probably up there. It's only 3 stands, so...
Definitely. Like, we don't like the stadium as much as it is. We were opposed to it when we moved here. Personally, we want to move. It's just free size, as you can see. The owner couldn't care about us.
Well, really, it depends on what you look for. For the football, it's good.
There's worse.
Examples?
Oh,
comfortably. Yeah, comfortably. It's got 3 stands. And that scoreboard's only about a year old.
The scoreboard's new.
It's only since the Arsenal game, like 2 years ago. You can occasionally see like the bin lorries coming by.
That's nice, classy
Yep.
touch.
Yep.
The stench is a bit bad, but a bit stinky.
I think we should go in. Let's head inside. When I said I'd got us the worst ticket, I meant it.
Oh no! I've always wanted to be here.
You know what though? It doesn't actually look like there's only 3 stands from here. Look, if you look to the left. But basically, the point I'm trying to prove is, if we get the worst ticket on the worst night in what is technically known as the worst stadium, what is that experience like? And can you still have an enjoyable time? I hope so, because I'm out of breath walking up them stairs, I won't lie to you. I also like that there's a seat between us, that's quite nice.
Yeah, there should be 2.
You could be in that corner of the stadium, right? I could be here, and there'll still be people in the comment section going, did you see the way they looked at each other? Look at all the space I have to work with at the back of this stand, by the way. Like, just fantastic stuff. I just walked into the bowl. That's really hurt my back. Oh. That really... You're one of the ones that, like, in inconspicuously really hurts. Oh, it's really f***ing bad. My first thoughts on the Kassam are, it's a football ground. It's missing one of the stands, but at least it then packs all the fans into one stand where the atmosphere is. The atmosphere behind that goal over there, the one stand that is behind the goal, is usually very, very good. So, you know, it's not Oxford fans' fault the stadium's bad. It's actually just the greed of an owner and a council, I think. Allegedly, Mr. Kassam, if you're watching this, I'll take a sponsor. You know, if you want to sponsor me, this video is sponsored by Kassam's Hollywood Bowl. The good thing about coming during a Carabao Cup game is there's lots of spare seats, which means if you want to, you look like a mummy in a tomb. Like Tutankhamun. There must be a mummy you could use the name Stunt Peg. I'm sure someone in the comment section is going to be like, actually there was one called Pegasaurus Rex 4. You can wake up now if you're up. Right, if we're being honest, the Hollywood Bowl pre-match meal wasn't plentiful. So let's try the in-stadium food. You're a vegetarian, which is just really irritating. Not for the ground, just in general, just really irritating. Joking. Steak and ale pie, hominy pie, a Coke Zero and a water, please. I got a steak and ale pie, and you've got a hominy pie. Hominy, I've never heard that word ever before. It feels like a very only English can make up that word.
Chunks of onion, we've got some real chunky tatties. That's good.
Out of 10.
7.
Does 7 constitute as good? Oh, it does, I guess, yeah. 5 being the average.
With ketchup, 8. Ketchup makes sense.
Ketchup on a pie, sex offenders register. I would check, just make sure you're not on it. Steak and ale pie. It looks a bit like what I would feed my cat, like just on the inside, but that's most pies, I think. It's actually really good. I think that's an 8. Neve. The guy outside who referenced the smell. Thoughts?
Yeah, it stinks.
It does, it really stinks. I don't know why. There was lots of horse outside. But it can't be that pungent. Like, what are they feeding the horses in Oxford? Just more shit. Like a human centre horse.
Second smelliest football stadium behind Burton Albion. You'll never sing that.
Does Burton Albion smell?
Oh, it stinks. It stinks.
I've got bad news, by the way, Neve. They said no smoking inside, so you've got to bin your vape.
No, don't even joke about that because there'll be people commenting going,
She did 15 Lost Marys outside. It's amazing. Also, what a name for a brand, Lost Mary. There's about maybe 100 Peterborough fans that have made the journey. Credit to you. Maybe, you probably should have just stayed at home. But not even if you win, you're not going to win the Carabao, lads. One of you's in an Argentina shirt. I can see that. What's that all about? Once again, if anyone's wondering about the attendance being terrible, it is. But this competition only matters if you get to the semi or the final of it. So if you want to work with me in the future, Carabao, I will take the money. I will unlist this video, then take the money. The attendance is bad because neither of these two teams will win the competition. So we are essentially watching a pointless game of football. Subscribe. Nearly at 500k. Well, subscribe. Do you think if Peterborough scored, do you think their fans would actually go mental for it? Or do you think they'd just sort of just be like, whoa? You know what I mean? I don't think anyone's ever celebrated a goal like, whoa. There's a family of pigeons behind us. Oh my God, that's so exciting to me. Oh, you don't. Oh, can it get out? Is it stuck?
Does it go here? This one? Here, pigeon.
Did you say here pigeon? It's not a dog. You can't go here pigeon, Neve. What on earth is that? There's an egg there as well. There's a pigeon egg. Have you seen a pigeon egg before?
But what if they just try to steal it?
So there's a game of football going on here. Just got an important pigeon update from some Oxford fans. So it turns out that because the club don't own their stadium, they can't actually do anything about that. So pigeons just get born and just die. And apparently it took until halfway through last season for the club to be able to remove dead pigeons. So above us, up here I'll show you, that section there is actually what they called a pigeon cemetery, where pigeons would just die up there. So that doesn't really feel like a good marker for a ground where the club physically can't stop pigeons from dying. I want to feed the pigeon, give it some nourishment for another week.
So yeah, I am actually very passionate about pigeons because I don't think we treat them with enough respect. So back in the war, we used to use pigeons as messengers, and now we just treat them like shit.
Do you think the sentence, I am very passionate about the pigeon, is going to do you a lot of favours going forward?
Yeah, because...
Can that be your Twitter bio? Very passionate about
think,
pigeons.
Oh, she cares. She cares. That's really upset me, that, for 2 reasons. One, I feel for that pigeon, and 2, we could be about to get pooed on.
Neve does actually make a great point. That up there isn't white paint. That is pigeon. But yeah, this is why these seats aren't used. This is why no one sits here. I've got seats in pigeon poo zone. You know, like if you go to SeaWorld, there's like a splash zone. We're in the shit zone. Seriously, on a genuine note, if anyone from Oxford is watching this, there's 2 young pigeons in there. Can you please save them? Please, genuinely.
You don't know that they're young.
It could be a young pigeon.
I'm actually getting really upset over these.
Well, they're not going to be an
pigeons.
old
Get
pigeon, are they?
sorted
They're going to die before they get too old, so it's got to be young.
Imagine the pigeon's like actually 40.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Actually, I've still got ID at the shop. By the way, the game's been terrible if you're wondering why we're still focusing on the pigeons. But still, like, someone from the club, help the pigeon. Turns out our concern for the pigeon was ill-founded. The pigeon got out. The pigeon could escape the whole time. Oh. She's actually just gone. The pigeon could get out the whole time. Sorry to Oxford for my appeal. My appeal was ill-founded. We've quickly realised that our seats are we're just in where the pigeons live, and it's not fun anymore. I no longer feel sympathy for them. They just all over the floor. And like, I know you don't want to be here anymore, guys, but just get like a Karcher pressure washer or something. Other brands are available, and just really pressure wash that floor. Because I would say there's like a 25% chance I'm leaving this game with pigeons on my head. And I've got a 3.5 hour drive home.
I'm not in any business for this.
If you get pigeon on you, would you let me record it?
Yeah.
Get in. Just start plumbing up them pigeons. Let's try and make a nice salient point on this. There's not really cared for anymore. Do you think this is a good example of it? Like in terms of don't let pigeons live in your ground?
We don't need to kill them though. I heard what you said.
I was just thinking it's probably kind of a little sniper squad.
If you were a pigeon, would you do it? Would you just poo on people for the bands?
I don't think I would be a pigeon.
I would.
If I had to be a bird, I would choose to be like a pelican. Size of that gob. What could you gobble up? It's an awful sentence. Neve's been asking to move seat, but honestly, it was sold out. There was no other seats. Literally, there was no other seat available in the stadium. That's really unfortunate.
Never asked me to come watch a football match with him. The first time in my entire life, I'm sat here for 90 minutes, not watching football. I'm watching a colony of pigeons.
I love having a YouTube channel that's centered around football where no one ever cares about football on it. I didn't think we'd be talking about pigeon today, but it sort of really proves the narrative of the video a bit, doesn't it? It proves the narrative. Oh no, don't, no. You could not run away from a pigeon, so stop that right now. It's 2-0 Oxford! Wait, is that the scoreboard behind the goal flashing? I actually quite like that. The scoreboard like goes bang, bang, bang if there's a goal. I mean, I'd like a stand full of people celebrating it ideally, but you can't have everything. Wait, Peterborough fans are actually already leaving. I mean, in fairness, yeah, I completely agree with that. Stop at services on the way home. Just, you've seen enough. We've all seen enough.
If you were a Peterborough fan and you were leaving and you looked up and you just saw me going, my head would be gone.
Have you ever sworn at an away end?
I've done loads of pie face. Do you know when pie face gets right in amongst it? I also do that.
Do you? Now it's our time. I want to talk about some pros and cons of a match day experience here. The pros, I think Oxford fans are great. I think they're underrated. Oxford could easily be an established championship club. There's no reason why it couldn't be. It's a great city. The foundations are there to really grow this, to at least be a top-end championship mid-table club, like easily. It's unique, it's different, and the atmosphere is always going to be decent because all the fans obviously going to congregate behind one main stand, which will make atmosphere. But also to caveat that, most stadiums tend to have that anyway. The niche difference is weird. It is weird. It's an eyesore. It's ugly to look at. It's weird. It's not good. It doesn't help for atmosphere. The sound seeps out because there's these weird gaps at the side of the stadium, which I'm not keen on either. Like, it's weird. It's like just 3 different stands which don't continue round, put around a grass pitch, which I'm aware any stadium really is, but like it's not. It doesn't feel like a stadium to me. It feels like the bare minimum was done because that was how it was done at the time, and I get there's reasons for that, but it doesn't make it good or passable. I think it's mental you can get shit on by a pigeon at a football ground. Like, genuinely. I know I've been to loads of football grounds as my job, I know, and there's pigeons and birds in them sometimes, but the fact that there just appears to be a family of pigeons living here that at any point could on you, and also it is never cleaned. That is something to note. It's interesting. It's so away days to make the whole first half of 2 goals, missed them both because I'm looking at a pigeon trying to on me though. That's the most away days. The most away days thing to happen actually would be to get on. That would be the most away days thing to happen. This is your first game at the Kassam. You've obviously heard and you've done coverage on it and why it was the negatives of it. Has your opinion changed now you've seen inside the ground, or is it worsened, or how are you feeling?
It's worsened, but I think that's just because of where we're sat. I've not enjoyed it one bit. Not one bit. I reckon as the temperature drops as well, it's going to get really cold because it's effectively a wind tunnel, isn't it?
Second half is underway. These guys have just turned up, and because they've only turned up for a second half of a football match, I'm not going to inform them they are in prime splash zone for a pepper from a pigeon. If they get shit on, then that is quite bad of me. But also watch 90 minutes. Oh, he's looked up. He's just, isn't he? Another whatever the competition is, regardless, it's going to be a pre-season friendly in the fans. He's going, oh, get off, ref. And I would know I'm an experienced ref. I've not got a coin. You got a coin?
One good thing about this stadium is it holds the noise very well. Because there's about 10 people in the stadium, but it feels quite loud.
I've never been to a stadium with so many gaps. Well, other than the Etihad. Also, for what it's worth, Oxford United playing at the Kassam Stadium isn't going to be a thing from 2026 onwards. Their current agreement to play here expires in 2026, so they're trying to find planning permission to build a new ground, which isn't easy, I get.
Do you know what doesn't help as well? Is Oxford, there's a lot of protected land because a lot of it's rural land, so the council, it'll be really hard for them to get permission. So they may have to ground share.
Could you imagine that? They'll have to ground share of like MK Dons, and that would be just two worlds colliding there. Both stadiums being bad are not on them fan bases. MK Dons Stadium is just too big for them, and Oxford Stadium isn't a stadium.
Kassam bought the club in '99. Guess how much she bought the club for?
£5 million.
£1. But it's because he inherited all their debt.
So I could have bought this.
Would you be willing to pay off all their debt?
It would be getting asset stripped, let's be honest. Well, Neve, just going to pop into shot. I think we've seen enough to make a conclusion, so let's head out. Goodbye the Kassam Stadium. I'm sure not for good. Goodbye, Neve.
See you later.
I'm off home. So, Oxford United, the Kassam Stadium. Worst stadium in England? I think maybe the most underwhelming stadium in England for the level the club play at. It's due to mismanagement. It's been a really interesting story to find out why it's bad. The fan base are great. I think Oxford United fans, if you're watching this, please don't confuse this with your fans or the fan base or the atmosphere inside the stadium, because that's not the case at all. The issue I have is with the stadium and the mismanagement that's led it to be in the situation it's in, and I think it's probably up there one of the worst stadium experiences you can have. It's free stands. Mental. Get Oxford United a new home. 5,000 likes for Europe's worst stadium. Let's see what we can do. Ciao, ciao. But also give me suggestions for the Europe's worst stadium, because I don't have a clue. Ciao, ciao. Bye.